What's up, guys? So here I am with the 2020 Range Rover Evoque, and I guess you guys have guessed that my XF is in to the dealer for some things to be done. That's a whole separate video on its own. When I get the car back, I will do a video and an update on what's actually going on with the XF. But for now, we're going to take a closer look at the 2020 Range Rover Evoque, and I'm going to take you guys around the car and show you a little bit more about it. So starting with the door pads, we have some piano black here, which I think if you guys know, if you followed my channel for a while now, you know I hate piano black in a car, but that's the way things are going now. And they have done it very stylishly though. They've got some really nice chrome accents here in the door pad. The grab handle is very, very solid, just like the Jaguars. And there's a lot of switch gear inside this car, which is, modeled on the Velar. And I'm really happy to see that a lot of the Velar's, technological features have been included in the new Evoque. Very, very nice. The switch gear itself, very solid. All the buttons have a really nice tactile feel to them. You've got all your controls here, lock, unlock, mirrors, and electric windows and rear electric window lock. And then down here we have a nice storage bin, pretty deep and big enough to store a nice big water bottle in there. And as you can see, this is the R-Dynamic version, and you can see the kick plate down there has the words R-Dynamic on them. Now the other nice thing is this car already comes with these nice brushed aluminum foot pedals, which is nice to see because my Jag didn't have that. And that's really nice to see as well, with a really nice footrest over there and rubber mats. And these rubber mats are pretty robust, and you can actually see they have the name Range Rover on them. And I like the sort of metal corners that they've actually got on there. It makes it look really rugged. That is the passenger door, and we have our speakers over there. There's one over there and one down there. And the dash itself has got a material cladding, which is the same as the door pads over there, and it's also stitched, and this is real stitching. So this stuff is very nice. I'm going to have to start the car now, so it's going to get a bit noisy because it is extremely hot here today. A very hot weekend. So the other thing that I noticed is the air vents are really nicely tucked away in here, but they provide very good ventilation inside the car, and the AC is freezing cold. And what they've done is, like Audi, they've carried the design of the vents all the way through, so you've got this congruent sort of feel all the way from the end of that air vent all the way to these air vents here. And I love this chrome accent that they've got going around here, down here, and all the way to the other air vent over there. So you've got this feeling of continuity throughout the dash, and it really feels good. The sound system is the Meridian sound system, and the word Meridian is actually there on the tweeter, which is very nice of them to do. This particular one it doesn't have a sunroof, but it does have an electronic moonroof. So we can actually open the roof up. Well, open the cover up to reveal the entire roof. And then all of a sudden, the entire car becomes very, very light inside, even though it has these black seats. Now, speaking of the seats, this brings us to the Velar-like AC controls, and this whole panel controls the AC system. There are also other controls down here, which I'll talk about now. But if you want to, this car doesn't have seat cooling, but it does have seat warming. And if you push it down, you have your little seat over there, and you can turn on you got 3 settings for your seat warmer, and if you turn it to the left, you'd have your seat cooling, but this car doesn't have that option. Push it down again, and then we have our temperature controls. So these buttons actually have a dual effect. And the other thing is, which is quite a neat thing, if you want to adjust the fan, you can see there's the fan setting over there. It's on 2 right now, but if we push the fan button, this dial changes so that you can control your fan speed. And you just push it again, and we've got our temperature controls. Push it down, and you've got your seat warmer on the left, and your seat cooling, if you have that option, which this car hasn't got. Now, moving down here, we have the auto stop start feature, and all it takes is a touch, and it will turn it off. So over here we have our terrain response. Over there we have hill descent control, and what this one is, I actually don't know. I haven't read the manual of the car, I must confess. We have this huge 10.25 inch screen over here, and it's fairly basic really, because it does have, I think this is called In Control Touch Pro, and it does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So for that reason, you're not going to find maps here. You just connect your phone through the USBs in here. And you can see my phone lying there. We have 2 USBs. You can plug one USB in for music, and you can plug your phone into the other one. And then we have a SIM card over there, and a 12-volt socket. So then what I like about this armrest is it's just typical, Range Rover, Land Rover. It's split into 2. So you don't have to disturb your passenger if you need to get into the storage bin over here. Okay, so back to the sound system. We have a camera over here, very crisp and very, very clear. You can see my tripod over there. That's how clear this thing is. And if you put it into reverse, then we have our guidelines, and I like the way they kind of just fade out there into the distance. And if you turn the steering wheel, you'll see that the guidelines turn with the wheel. So that's also a very, very nice feature, which you find on most new cars now. Over here on the right, we have our parking sensors, and this one is fitted with parking sensors front and rear, and that's extremely helpful when parking. You do get an option of, 360 cameras, but this car is not fitted with it, and you can manually turn on your parking sensors over there, so it has an augmented reality kind of picture that comes up on the screen, and you can see the wheels of the car, and you can actually see underneath the car and what's sort of where your wheels are when you're off-road, which is a nice thing to have. This car doesn't have it, so I can't show you. And then we have our media over here, and you can see mine is connected to, my phone is connected to it, and you've got your source over here. So, we can select phone or radio, and if you have a USB in there, it'll pick the USB up as well. So, I have tried to connect my phone to the Android Auto. It doesn't want to pair for some reason, I don't know why. My Bluetooth is on, I did plug it in. I do have Android Auto on my phone, and it does load, it starts loading, but then it says it can't connect for some reason. So I'm not in a position to actually demonstrate that to you guys. But on the whole, very nice system, but you can see it does leave fingerprints over here, as will this. But this doesn't seem to leave fingerprints as much as the screen does. So I think they've done a very good job with this system over here. I really, really like that. Now, moving on to the steering wheel, we have these multifunction controls over here, and I think Audi also has a similar thing on theirs. If you press menu, everything changes over here, and you now have arrows. So your display, and this is a TFT display actually, so we can actually move between our display, we've got our trip computer, we've got our drive assistance. This has got collision warning, emergency lane keeping, as well as steering assistance, and our driver condition monitor. So there is a little camera in here monitoring the driver. And then you can even control your media source from here. If you want to get out of that, press the up arrow and it brings you back to your menu settings and your volume control and your seek function for radio stations and music. We also have voice control, and you can just press that to, dial a number. And then over here we have our cruise control settings, and this one actually has the smart cruise control where you can set it up to 3 different settings. So you can see my reflection in the background there, but you can set it up to 3 different settings, close, closer, and are you nuts. So we also have a speed limiter here, just like all Jaguar Land Rovers normally have, and your cruise control settings over here. You can increase your speed, you can set it and decrease speed, and so on and so forth. So overall, the steering wheel actually has a very, very nice feel. It's a bit thin for my liking. I like thick, chunky steering wheels, but all Jaguar Land Rovers have these types of steering wheels, and the steering itself is very, very light. You're really not going to struggle to get around town in this thing. I like the driving feel of the entire car. It feels high, it feels like an SUV. It doesn't feel like a sort of pretend SUV. This is a genuine SUV. Now, I apologize for the video quality, but I have to have the sunshade closed. It is so hot here today. And as you can see, not a lot of leg room in the back here. I mean, this is my driving position. I'm sitting behind myself, and I guess I would be comfortable. I'm 6 foot on the dot. So, any 6-footer is going to be, I think, comfortable sitting in the back. The seating position itself is very high. The seats themselves are very comfortable. And I just noticed something over here. This panel seems to be loose. So I don't know what that's about, but this car is brand new. It's got about 7,000 kilometers on the clock. Well, that's about 5,000 miles. And it drives like it is new. So there's a nice view of the front of the car. Being an Evoque, it is rather small inside, and I'll be honest with you, the heat is so bad in here right now. I really do need to turn up the fan because I've got the aircon going, I've got the engine running, and it's just not doing enough to keep me cool. It's 28 degrees here right now, that's what the car says, but I think inside the car it's probably much hotter than that. So I'm going to show you guys around the trunk now. The trunk actually reminds me of the Discovery I had last year. In here you can release the tow hook, the 12-volt socket, and then this is for your plug for your trailer lights. So in the front we have directional indicators and full LED lights, as well as intelligent high beam assist. And at the rear we have full LED taillights with directional indicators as well. What I love is the taillights also have this velar effect to them, which is really, really nice. Another nice touch that they brought from the velar are these really cool Tesla-like door handles. They open pretty quick, and the feel is also nice and solid. As for the rear view mirror, not a lot of visibility out the back of that tiny little window, but this car is fitted with Jaguar's smart rear view mirror. Now, I think Cadillac actually invented this initially on the older CTS before it became the CT6. It's really cool to have this feature because you can see way better out the rear. Using that and using the rear camera combined, you can see everything that's going on behind you. Now, something I always like to do is take a look under the hood of these cars. And interestingly, the airbox intake is here, and that feeds through this intake over here, which takes air through these holes over here. So you can actually wade pretty deep in water without having to worry about becoming hydrolocked. And I've taken a look to see if I can find any wires that are exposed, like you find in the Jaguar XE and the Jaguar XF. And as you can see, there are no wires that are exposed here, not that I can see. And another thing I noticed was a lot of leaves in here, and these clips just lying here, I don't know what they're for. I thought maybe it's for a cover, but the cover's actually in here, so I don't know why those would be there or what they're for. This is powered by Jaguar Land Rover's Ingenium 2-liter diesel, and it pumps out about 132 kilowatts of power, which is pretty powerful in this car. Oddly, when I drove the Jaguar 2-liter diesel, compared to the 2-liter petrol turbo, it wasn't as powerful to me, but it seems pretty powerful in this SUV. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned, because the next video is going to be an update on what's going on with my Jaguar XF. That is a video all on its own, so I'll tell you guys more about it. Thank you for watching. If you want, please subscribe and share, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.